Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Dr. Ken Irish Bramble. I'm the Executive Director of the Caribbean Research Center here in Brooklyn, New York. As many of you are aware, the Caribbean Research Center was founded in 1985 for the purpose of promoting study and better understanding of the Caribbean and its diaspora. We have a long history of community engagement, which we are continuing, a proud tradition today, of connecting people throughout the region, and in the diaspora together to promote sustainable development in all areas. Today, we are proud to have a presentation by representatives from the Tobago House of Assembly speaking about opportunities, business investment opportunities, and entrepreneurial opportunities for people throughout the diaspora to engage the people in Tobago in enterprise. All right, today's event is being co-sponsored by some of our community partners. First, I want to recognize Day Abroad, who is not represented here today, unfortunately, but has been a proud sponsor and sponsored our first event. Also, the Southern Diaspora Research and Development Corporation, which has a long history of being one of our partners in promoting sustainable development throughout the region, South America and Central America. And the host for today's event, the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce Incorporated. At this point in time, I'd like to bring forward some representatives from the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce Incorporated to make a few brief remarks. So at this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Anna Walker. Please join us up front.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Give yourselves a round of applause for being in the right place at the right time. We are pleased to have you here in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, where we hope that this will be the first of many other visits. Hopefully, we'll be able to give you a tour next time. We have 15,000 square feet of agriculture that we would like to share with you. Electric cars being made here, and housing are being developed here by young people for hurricane season. So those are things you will get a chance. But today, as your host, I'm privileged and proud to have our leadership here with you. First and foremost, our treasurer, Mr. Tobago here, who came from Jamaica. We have our bookkeeper. You notice I brought the money people, right? And our bookkeeper is Marion Joseph, been with us more than 10 years. We have a chamber member that has her own business in the health industry, Ms. Faith Berdara. We have our communication guy, Mr. Brash. He did your radio. And he's also one of the original vendors for the market that we mentored over the last 17 years. And last but not least, Mr. William Lake, who is our controller and also he will be speaking on behalf of the organization to let you know some of the other partnerships we formed over the last couple of months. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Please,
Hello and good.
let's go. Yeah, long thing. Just speak.
Okay. Good morning, and on behalf of Invest Tobago, let's say good morning again. At TACI, we do a number of things. We develop businesses here in New York. We connect New York to the Caribbean diaspora. The Caribbean diaspora, of course, starts in the Caribbean. We're here in New York, and we're in New York, we're in Amsterdam, we're in London, and of course, Paris. Those are the big Caribbean centers, and Canada. Don't forget Canada. The big Caribbean centers outside of the Caribbean. We're hoping to see a great presentation from you. And keep in mind for us, a few things are important. Number one, the art of the deal. The deal has to make sense to the investment, the structure of the deal, and of course, that could be a partnership, it could be a corporation, it could be shareholders, or we could be sole proprietors in an investment in Tobago at this point. But the key thing is, they have to make it accessible to average working class Trinidadian, Tobagan, Jamaican, or any other West Indian here in New York. So we're looking forward to that. On a part of CACI, we are building, of course, we're working hard on our Caribbean Trade Center, where we will hopefully house these type of functions in the future. But most importantly, on a sustainable basis. So when next time you come to New York and our center is open, you do your presentation and you leave, your presentation is going to be there until you decide to update. With that, I'm going to just relinquish this mic, or else I could be here until.
Thank you very much. Continuing development with the community organization. And that community organization is Team Tobago. And I believe Team Tobago has a big program coming up this Sunday. What is the location? I'm sorry.
It's Old Boys High School grounds at 777 Rockland Road.
Okay, so Old Boys High School on Rutland Road here in Brooklyn. So if any of you are joining us live and have not received information concerning that, please come and check it out. I believe Team Tobago has a very active Facebook page where you can gather further information regarding that. Suzanne, you ready?
Could I go?
Yes, please. All right, so we're going to have a few remarks from the representative from Team Tobago coming up. But in the meantime, I want to remind anyone who is in the creative arts community that there is another engagement this afternoon at 3 o'clock. And so we hope to see those people also come out, representatives of that community, come out to participate in this dialogue. So, all right, here we go. So next we'll be having a few remarks by Dr. Jimmy Toussaint, who is representing Team Tobago and who is integral in organizing these ventures.
Okay, thank you. As the world tries to recover from the impact of the COVID-19 global pandemic, small developing island nation states, which even before COVID-19 were already more susceptible and actually started. As the world tries to recover from the impact of the COVID-19 global pandemic, small developing island nation states, which even before COVID-19 were already more susceptible to global economic shocks, continue to lag far behind the larger developed countries. According to the United Nations, island nation states such as the Maldives, Seychelles, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Grenada that are heavily dependent on tourism, and where the tourism sector accounts for more than 50% of their domestic product, continue to be vulnerable, even as we to Cuba. Today, and which years are the on the only reason is the exception.
Okay. In fact, it can be said more fittingly that Tobago is open for sustainable business. Tobago was once pitched as clean, green, and serene. And although we are still considered clean, green, and serene, few would consider our economy a smart economy. Today, like any good steward overseeing a property, Mr. Watson Duke and his visionary team would like to change that. That is why they have left their safe space in Tobago and journeyed several thousand miles across the ocean to woo you back, to woo you to come back with them. Their vision is to take Tobago towards a smarter, greener, more autonomous Tobago, creating an investment climate of inclusivity and sustainability. The gods are also watching. The National Geographic, one of the most widely read magazines of all time, in a ranking of action-packed Caribbean islands, it ranked Tobago as #1. The article refers to Tobago as quiet and welcoming, but do not mistake that for boring. Think on this for a moment. Quiet and welcoming, but do not mistake that for boring. It is easy to understand the words quiet and boring going hand in hand, but it becomes a little more difficult to reconcile the words quiet and action-packed in the same sentence. This seemingly oxymoron, in my mind, should be replaced by the phrase paradise. And even though this article mostly focuses on Tobago, from a tourism perspective, Tobago is more than tourism. Although my expertise is not in economics, and I will leave that up to the well-distinguished panel of experts sitting up here today, I can tell you that Tobago has the pluses that anyone who is serious about investing would welcome. Tobago has a young, well-educated workforce, both in academia and in vocational training. Being colonized, and I hate to use that word, by England, our mother tongue is English. So that dreaded terminology, language barrier does not come into play when you accept our invitation to come on board. We have over 4 airlines doing daily trips lasting about 5 hours or so from New York City to Trinidad. Then another quick 20 minutes flight gets you to Tobago. Additionally, we have our national airline, Caribbean Airlines, that not only flies to Tobago via Trinidad twice daily, but also does a weekly direct flight from New York City to Tobago. Talks, as I was told, are taking place to increase these direct flights. The telecommunication sector has been developing at record pace on the island, with some level of broadband internet getting to even the most remote parts of the island. So for those who reside online, as 99% of us do, whether you are here or on the ground in Tobago, as investors, you would have dedicated connections in your Zoom meetings, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, etc. For me personally, as part of the diaspora, the Tobago diaspora, who have been living in the US for the past 25 years, I am also invested in Tobago. In fact, I have a multi-purpose Airbnb/rental real estate. And for the 4 years that I've had my Ring cameras stationed at my property, the connection has never failed me. Mr. Duke and his team, I applaud you on this move. This is coming out from your safe space, wanting more for the people of Tobago, and traveling this distance to meet and pitch to investors, business people, and entrepreneurs. I know that you and your team want a first world life and livelihood for the island that you now govern. And it starts with this step. Maybe a small step for some, but a life-changing giant step for others. I thank you all for coming, and I now turn you back over to the moderator.
Thank you, Dr. Toussaint. All right, with no further ado, please allow me to introduce our featured presenter for today. And our featured presenter today is none other than Mr. Watson Duke, who is the Chief, I got it wrong, Deputy Chief Secretary for the Tobago House of Assembly, and the founder of the Progressive, I'm gonna get it right. All right, see, that's what happens when you're an innovator and you add a whole new party to the system. All right, the Progressive Democratic Patriots. I love the name, man. All right, and he's, of course, a superstar in Tobago politics and in the larger Trinidad and Tobago political arena. Sorry? Oh, okay. All right. I'm not going into all of that. No. All right. Fair enough. So at this point in time, I'd like to introduce and present to you Mr. Watson Duke.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. And thank you, Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce by Ms. Walker, all right, and our team. This morning, my purpose is very simple. I stand here on behalf of 60,000 residents of Tobago who have recently held an election and have voted for change. not exchange. They voted for change. Change could sometimes be exciting. It can sometimes be slow, but change must look like change. It must be different. And so for the very first time, the Tobago House of Assembly has adopted a division that treats specifically with diaspora. You know, before diaspora is wherever it hangs, it swings. Wherever it drops, it stops. That was it. Now we are trying to carefully program and manage how we treat with our diaspora. And this event is the first national event where we are here to treat with the Tobago diaspora, those persons who would have originated from Tobago, but because of different reasons, went to different parts of the world, and in this case, specifically New York. But as I stand here, I am more concerned, not just with Tobago's diaspora, my dear sister, but with the Caribbean diaspora. I remember the song of Black Starling. Some places we have different types of culture songs. In Trinidad, we have soca, chutney, but Black Starling is calypso, vintage calypso. And he spoke of a song called The Caribbean Man. If I could just get my phone to do justice to that song. But when a song is that nice, we don't want to butcher it up. We want to make sure. And don't expect to hear me sing. But it's a thought-provoking song. And that's where I want to start as I address the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce. Why add industry? Right. So the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Black Starling in his first stanza says, speaking to the Caribbean leaders, he said, "You're trying with a federation. The whole thing ended in confusion. CARICOM and then CARIFTA, but somehow a smelling disaster. Mr. West Indian politician, myself, others. I mean, you went to big institution. How come you can't unite 7 million at that time? When a West Indian unity is very easy if you only rap to the people and tell them like we. Now hear this part, chorus. Them is one race. And the man say, Caribbean man. From the same place, Caribbean man. I hear somebody say it. They make the same trip on the same ship. So we must push one common intention, magnitude. We must push one common intention for a better life in the region for the woman and with children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean. From here, I want to launch off to say, if there is one thing I want us to get before we leave here today, that we must have a common intention. And I tell you now, so you don't fall asleep and forget what the intention was. The intention is that the Caribbean must become an important factor in world decisions. In other words, to put a picture on the canvas of your mind, we must become part of the G6, G7, G8, G9, G10. We have to be part of that greater nation. You know, when they have the G10 meeting or G6 meeting, there's a few of them that goes, right? Those are the big acts. The Caribbean man is not found there. The Caribbean man is found when there's donation. You want some free vaccines? Come. Let me see what I can give you. But when coming to make big decisions, the Caribbean man is not there. Are we on the United Nations Security Council? I don't think so. Are we? Anybody tell me? No. We may not there. And so the intention is that we must she's now dead, I think. Yeah. And I sure, as you look at Jamaica, Barbados, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Martinique, wherever, even Cuba, you will come to understand, and Guyana, persons from those diaspora would have made their mark. They have left their footprints. So what am I saying? What has to do with diaspora? As a Caribbean people, we are one. And let's not forget that. So it means the business in Jamaica must be supported by the business in Trinidad. Yeah. And the business in Guyana must be supported by the business in St. Lucia. We are one, the Caribbean. If we want unity, we must have one common intention. Once we get those ABC 1, 2, 3 things on right, the rest is easy. Now, as the Deputy Chief Secretary, and more importantly, the founder and the political leader of the now famous and strong Progressive Democratic Patriots, I'm proud to say our vision is clear as day and as strong as iron. Will not bend easily. We are focused on taking a group of people, 60,000 residents, and make them the smallest, greatest island on earth, is it? The greatest little island on the earth, or the smallest, greatest island on the earth, after front being the same thing. We want to make Tobago proud. But Tobago is only a microcosm of what the Caribbean should be. We want the entire Caribbean to become one of the greatest place on earth. Yeah? And we must hold one head. When we go to CARICOM, must not be a talk shop. I chided our leaders for that. One day when I get here in CARICOM, I'll pull the strings, you know, sister. They go there, they drink juice, they eat chicken, and they come back and they say at meeting, nothing comes out of CARICOM. CARICOM does attract the attention of the big nation. Ever so often, the bigger nations pull out 1 or 2 of them and say, look, wave them, and they feel nice because they acknowledge. We want better for Caribbean. There are millions of Caribbean people that have been dispersed throughout the entire globe. But we have different intentions, different ambitions. In Tobago, we are starting the ball rolling. And let me give you some homework, by the way. Dr. Bramble, I want to give you some homework. We're going to formalize it, the letter. But one of the things we want to do is that we want to start off numbering in New York the entire Tobago diaspora here. And then we get down to the Caribbean diaspora after. Because sometimes it takes a little country to teach everyone how we should live. We just can't leave it for chance and say it's going to be done. If I ask my dear colleague, Sister Walker, what's the number of the Caribbean diaspora in New York, she may give a number. But more importantly, if I begin to dissect it and see how much we have in Brooklyn, how much we have in Queens, how much we have in Long Island, how much we have on small island over there, you can't break it up like that. It then becomes confusing, or the lie begins to reveal itself. You know, the guest begins to show itself as a guest. So we want to be accurate, because our diaspora must feel the presence of us in a real way. I don't mean to be religious, but I'll stick a little thing in, you know. They teach us that when we keep down your sleeves, right? The Bible says the very hair on our heads are numbered. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He doesn't say, you get 50,000 here. They're all numbers. Even in a poem, one drop out, he knows what number is that one. If that is 1,000, 1,500.1 here to go. It's accurate like that. A bird doesn't fall and he doesn't know it. We are saying the time has come, we must take an acute interest in the entire diaspora of the Caribbean that is here, first of all, and then we take the other places. It says to people that they are not forgotten, they're not lost in the big numbers. Yeah? Give them a happy birthday card, email, WhatsApp. Somebody just sit down to do that. Once we could organize our people, we then become a force to reckon with. Because we could say to America, to New York, to the mayor of New York, hey, we have in this nation 1.5 million people. And this is their background. This is how they contribute to your society. We need to have a greater say. As a Caribbean people, I'm going to stop that. I'm better than you did. One race. We make the same trip on the same ship. So in Tobago, we want to lead the way, and to lead the way, we have to come up with a business plan. A business plan that I've not seen in the rest of the Caribbean. I mean no insult. I'm just saying a lot of our leaders, myself being a politician, they have gone into that comatose state where they put the car on cruise control. It's a deadly state to put your car on cruise control and go down a highway that has some winding curves. You know, there's something called cruise control in luxury vehicles. I happen to have one, but I've never used it. If you have one and you use it, let me know how it works. You have one? You have one? Look like a rich guy. Don't use it. Don't use it, right? Because you want to be in control. That's right. I tell you. If you want to be in control, you don't use cruise control. All right? And I'm saying our Caribbean leaders have lost control of the mandate given to them by our people, in that the adage fits well into Caribbean politics. The more things change, the more they remain the same. After 50, 60 years of independence, what do we really have? Did we prepare for the educated people that's coming up? Did we prepare for the business people that's reaching out? We keep shutting them down. Our young educated people, we keep shutting them down. Our business people. And so the Caribbean remains in a comatose state because its leaders are on cruise control. When you see them, each one represents the other. They are status quo. Everybody wants to look as well-behaved children who are placed in a corner with their finger on their lips. Now, I'm not speaking, I'm not a regular politician, by the way. I'm cutting a different boat of cloth. You know, the regular politician, they are predictable. Watson Solomon Duke is unpredictable. What you know you're going to get from me is something of substance. I'm going to force you to think. Yeah, that's why I'm here. And so we need to create job opportunities for our people. That's what the first world nations are talking about. That's what the G6, G9, G7, whatever, they change it ever so often. They make the group smaller when they want to keep people up. But when the greater nations are speaking, they speak about job creation. And they speak in a very disdainful manner about job loss. Yeah? In the Caribbean, they speak about job loss with a glorified sense of achievement. And they said, we had to shut down this place because things are hard. They use it to justify their position why things are hard. Imagine that. That's what they do in the Caribbean. You know that, you're from the Caribbean too, right? Yeah, that's what they do. Not new, all of them. They justify closing jobs by saying things are hard. You know, they justify the increase in the pump by saying, well, things tough. They are not the creators of jobs. They do not create jobs in the Caribbean. All right? They create millionaires, billionaires. They create thieves. Yeah? They create a corrupt system. I'm talking to the diaspora. I'm not going to be real, right? I'm a different politician. You all are from there? You know what we're talking about. Every year, billions passing, and the tongue remains the same way. There's no new business in the tongue, except somebody trying to sell weed or eyelashes. That's what goes on in the tongue. I'm saying to you, somebody trying to sell a bottle of water. There's no new businesses in the town. In Jamaica, in Barbados, in St. Lucia, there's no new business. We depend on someone to come in and build a building and tourism, and we see that's development. But look at the flights. Every time a plane land, they say they count the seat and not the people. They say X amount of people came to the country. Same thing with a boat. A boat come in, they count the capacity of the boat and not the amount of people that came up and actually spend money. Are you hearing me? Am I going too fast?
No,
Good. So we're talking about changing the very life within the Caribbean. This is what this diaspora meeting is about. This is what foreign direct investment is about. As I told someone who recently asked me for a job, I say, look, I'm going to use this story, but it paints a perfect story, right? Because it's an ideal story. If the woman in a home has a certain amount of money coming in a month, $1,000, that money is already spent buying groceries, sending children to school, doing different things. With the best of intention, she can do nothing more than that. She may do less based on the impact of inflation, but she can't do anything more unless new money comes in, unless the husband begins to moonlight, unless she begins to do additional jobs. But unless there is new money coming in, there's no way that she could do anything more. She must take that old money and invest it to bring in new money. A country has its limit as anything else. We can only do so much with the amount of money we bring in. Even if a borrower can only borrow so much based on your capacity to repay. So they get new money to fulfill new dreams, new thoughts, new designs, whatever. You have to reach outside and ask persons with the foreign capital to come and invest. And the investment will show itself with the creation of new jobs, the creation of more money in the system, so more things can be done. And then Tobago, we have come with a plan like that. We have come up with an area in Tobago East called Roxborough. Now, Tobago, like most Caribbean countries, has a lot of winding roads. Where are you from, sir?
Curacao.
Curacao is flat, but are they winding roads in Curacao? Fair share of winding roads. Where you from, ma'am? Trinidad. Plenty of winding roads, right? And you from, sir? Jamaica. There are plenty of winding roads up there, man. Plenty of winding roads, man. Winding road for stop. And Jamaica. Right? Winding. You sway Trinidad, people winding in Jamaica. So I'm saying to you that those winding roads can make people sick. Motion sickness. In Tobago, there are lots of winding roads in Tobago, and people traveling from a simple distance, that's 25 kilometers from Scarborough to Roxborough, they get sick because corner after corner after corner, and the cars are moving, trying to make the journey to come back, to go back again. That's how they make a taxi. We are saying that, and then there's also a pressure on people to country and town in most Caribbean countries. Country and town, and so town land always sell more than country land. You with me? Yeah. In thinking about how the world has changed as political leader, I came up with a plan to eradicate the winding road and to deal with the ups and downs of prices like a plan based on where it's situated. So I've decided that we're going to build a super highway from the country straight to the top. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's needed. That super highway is going to be a highway that takes about 15 minutes to get from one end of Tobago to the next, because it's going to be straight. They're going to be off roads, but straight highway. Straight highway. I know stopping on the highway, and traffic lights on the highway. Let's go straight. Straight. When you come to a particular place, or come off and take a lower street. What that does is increase the time of travel. And so living anywhere on the island of Tobago becomes a breeze, you know? And lands in the east, which is the country, And the west, which is the town, same price. Same price, right? One of the things we do that. And we eliminate the lack of travel from east to west because now you no sickness again. Travel more freely. It's going to take some money, but you have to build it with your people in mind to solve big problems. As long as that winding road is there, people will not want to come to the country. They will say, me never go country, you know. I know you all understand that too, my language. Me never go country, you know. But too far from me, but the bush. And it's just undeveloped. People in the country say, but I live at town, but you can't take one country, you know. Can't take one country, like country too far. You're depleting your brain in the country and it far. So you have to be the balance of our country. We did that. We have drawn a plan like that. A super highway based on an architect estimate is over $10 billion US because it has to take into consideration is a rainforest, one of the oldest forest reserves in the Western Hemisphere, established in 1770 something. All right, has been legally established as a protected rainforest, the oldest in the Western Hemisphere. And so it's going to take us through that rainforest without compromising the flora and the fauna, but we're also going to create a beautiful scenery that is seldom seen because most people hardly drive through the rainforest. They have to walk, but now we could drive through it. It's one. To deal with the problem of money and employment, we have come up with creating a whole new economic hub in Tobago that's going to attract all persons from the Caribbean and South America. You must understand the Caribbean has about 50 million people, thereabout, including Puerto Rico, is we're talking about, right? Virgin Islands, etc. And South America has hundreds of millions of people. Together, the Caribbean and South America has 666 million people. That's 666 million people. You can imagine if you have a product that these people want. That's a lot of people that be making a beaten path to your home. So ask yourself, what do these people want in South America and the Caribbean? All of them would like to see peace of America. You know that? All of them would like to see peace of Dubai. You with me? All of them would like to know that they don't have to go through the rigor of airport security scrutinizing them, watching them, or the rejection of not having a visa to go, or the expense of travel. So we are bringing it right here into it. The Roxborough city originally should have been the second town of Tobago, was never built up or taken off. It remains a shanty town to this day. But most of the land around the Roxborough city are state lands, which means they fall in the hands of the state. So let's say about 90% of the lands they are state lands. So it's ideal for the state to do development. You don't have to displace much people. All right, and if someone is displaced, it's because you're getting an upgrade. I think everybody like an upgrade, right? Yes. Sometimes you go to buy chicken and chips. They say, I want a regular size or upsize, $1 and I get upsize. I don't know. I always go for the upsize. What about you? You gotta go. You go for the upsize, right? People say I'm gonna give it away. You say, look, I think you're a healthy person. I'm a healthy person. But I'm saying for those who are not so healthy and so cautious, yeah, but just say, give me the upsize, them $1. Oh, we go to the shop, they say, look, if I buy this $1 and get this one free, an upgrade, you know. So we have decided to upgrade the people who has to be replaced, who has to be moved around and give them more than what they now have. What the city of Roxborough will now have is an attraction that makes the person in Trinidad, in Jamaica, in Barbados, St. Lucia, Guyana, St. Vincent, all of them want to come. We are going to build some islands out in the Roxborough from, you're going to see it on the plan here, from Dallaford right down to Belgarden, which is like a big gulf. We're going to build some islands around there called Marina Islands. All right? Each of those islands will have its own team. One is going to have a hotel, casino. Next one is going to have shopping malls and different things like that. They'll have an indoor ice skating ring. You know, we don't see snow in Trinidad and Tobago, right? Have an indoor ice skating ring, and you're gonna have even looking at possibly giving a little snow place inside it too. People see snow fall and that kind of stuff. It's gonna be heavily powered by renewable energy, right? Which is wind energy and thermal energy, that kind of stuff, and powered by it. We're already speaking to persons from the UN and persons who are associated with Paris Climate Treaty to talk about reducing the carbon footprint, etc. So we're powered by those things. And also at the same time, we are going to put a wave break on the outside of those islands because it's on the Atlantic side. So we're defying logic. It's on the Atlantic side. Because the waves there are coming in, whether we give them permission or not, and they're damaging the brace wall. The Roxborough City is the only place in Tobago that has a large brace wall, and the brace wall is collapsing because the sea comes in and bashes it. There's nothing outside to stop it. So the islands are meant to slow down the water, and the windbreaker and wave breaker is meant to slow it down or further, and so you now have calm sea on the inside. Roxborough is the only place where people build on the brace wall itself. Their houses, their shops, etc. That's threatened. Move those persons. And we are going to now resand the entire beach, create a new beach front line with boardwalk, etc. You can have the Eye of Roxborough. If you've been to England, the Eye of England, many places have it on the beachfront. You just go and sit back and you relax and things spin around very slowly as if you're watching time itself pass. So that's part of the thing there. Now, so you're fixing the beach, one, stopping the coastal erosion, two, and you're also creating that Dubai effect by putting about 4 or 5 islands out there spanning around and a causeway that join one island to the next. Some of those islands are going to be quite Americanized and Europeanized. So you're going to have the big stores, the big name stores are going to be there, the Louis Vuitton, the whatever you want to call it. I don't want to call too much names here, but big name stores, good shopping, must have a Macy's, etc. We're talking about the American price. So instead of a man coming up and say, I go to America to just shop by Macy's, yes, or by Mark and Spencer if you go to England, or these other places, or by Ross in America. You know Ross, right? You want to buy these places in America. Some people love Ross. You might get a Ross right there in the island, and we are to create a cocktail of benefits for those persons on the island. All right, but more than that, we are creating for the island its own airport, so private jets can come in. But not just the private jets only, we are creating a cargo port where both the cargo planes can come in, drop cargo to go to South America, and those from South America to drop cargo to go to North America and elsewhere, because we had a very good transshipment point for air cargo. Yeah. I want to tell you that if the world's richest man could make his money from cargo, I tell you, I believe that some investor can make a fraction of that money from cargo also, if he gets it right. If he gets it right. If you take your goods from wherever, China, wherever, and you come on your land in that cargo port specifically for that, with the relevant bonds, etc., stored up there, and someone come and take it and go, quick movements, in and out, I tell you, it's going to become one of the busiest airports in the Caribbean. Not because of people coming and going, because the movement of goods needs to be traveled quickly. People don't want their goods outside more than 3 days. They buy something, they want to speed it up. Am I correct on that? You don't want it too long, you want it now. That's how they are made our brains to think. By giving us a remote control for the TV. No longer you have to get up and choke the knob and pull it up off. That used to be painful, right? Stubborn now. That used to be painful long time. I had to get up and put the TV on and put it off. And oftentimes you will have someone like my brother there sitting down and say, put on that TV for me, please. Give an instruction. All right, am I correct on that? But now you just say, pass the remote to me. Wow! Even the microwave, has replaced the oven and the stove. Back then, so that's changed already. they had email and email is taking too long. You have to go into and press up. Or they have WhatsApp, but WhatsApp anything. I don't read emails because people want everything fast. Yeah, that's a wait until you're watching news on TV. But now they have it in clips and some bites. Just 2 minutes news, and it's just enough for you. So you pull up your phone and watch the news, blah blah. We are going faster now. People don't want to wait on tourism anymore. A big ship to come up to have people on the island. They want to fly directly in, and they want to start the holidays from the time they land. So on that airline, direct chartered flights, or we're talking about jets such as minor jets to come and land, bam, and they go straight to the Marina Island. Food, everything to think about it right there. Customs is just easy, breeze through, locked away, island by yourself. Yeah, and then we have the cargo taking place again. People making money from that. I say, if the world richest man could become about, say, that he's fighting with Telesa guy, for the world richest man. But they are fighting. If they could make billions, hundreds of billions from just cargo, that's all I know. The man doesn't even manufacture a flashlight. If I bring Jeff Bezos and say, look, make a flashlight for me, he's not going to make it. But he has the mind. And if we have the mind in the Caribbean to do something, we must do it. So because of where we are situated, right under the hurricane belt, right, it's perfect for that kind of transshipment point. Hurricane is going to hardly hit us, so your things are going to hardly be exposed to disaster and that kind of stuff. And then we want to deal with the shipping cargo, shipping lines also now. Shipping cargo, you know, passing through that Panama Canal, that's $1 million relief for a lot of people, $1 million relief. And passing through that Panama Canal, any ship that's going down South America, they must pass above today, right above today. There's no way to pass. The route is right there. And so we could capitalize on that. Right there alone, we could have a bunkering station that come and refuel the road, right? Come and offload and turn back. That's part of the New York City, getting all of that within one little square foot of land there. That's not all people. I'm not going to just, the screen going to show by its own. I'm just telling you. For the city to be a city, we have to populate it. Right now, the population there, worst case, could be about 6,000 people. They're about very small cities, village, right? We want to up that by putting about 10,000 persons there, by bringing about 2,000 homes in 1 year. These homes are going to be built into the hills and quite eco-friendly. And some are going to be going up in the sky also too, because we can't always accommodate a ground spot for every individual home. It's going to bring an influx of people into the space. So we're going to have people to participate in doing work, tasks, etc. There are going to be several institutes where you're going to educate your people. An agriculture institute, there's going to be aviation and marine institute, and other engineering institute, because you have to train your people. Don't train them for now, to train them for the future. A city like that, you always need engineers. You always need aviation people. You always need shipping people. We have to understand agriculture has changed a lot. Whereas long time, a man wants acres of flat land to plant agriculture. That's outdated now. You could go to anywhere. There's a vertical farm. Yeah? Have it here. Good, are we talking about? I think I've become digital now. Change that. And we are going to ensure that we provide food, because that is a very important thing. What you eat determines how you live, how healthy you are. We want to ensure that not only we have food, but we provide food for the growing industries of Tobago and the tourists that comes and the people that comes, etc. We want to provide food. So we're talking about vertical farms, having an agriculture institute, especially geared towards that. Just like America, we want to go the best, the best for that. There was a time when anything that came from the Caribbean had its worth in gold, because somehow the Caribbean was seen as an organic place. You with me? So if you had mangoes from the Caribbean, wow, that is the real mango that one. Organic. No, not so. No. Also, we're using the same thing they're using. So we have to now have an institute that studies how to go back to creating those organic plants, those organic animal, keep them organic and natural, and cut out some of those things that compromises the health and the nutrients of these animals. Very important. The world will make a beating part for the best meat and the best fruits, vegetables, dairy products, whatever you want to call it. They want the best. And organic, anything organic, organ synthetic would sell more. So if you buy into salmon, they say this was grown organic hormones, and that would more, right? If you're growing pigs, the pig that is allowed to roam on the outside always with more money than I was inside, right? It is said by people who come to my island, Tobago, to buy goat and sheep, that the animals there taste different than animals elsewhere. Because Tobago is so small, the sea blast infiltrates all over the land from the island, right? And they say when the animals are grazing outside and they eat that outside, that's salt and meat tastes different. It tastes different. And so people come from Trinidad to buy it, etc. I was in Guyana sometime earlier this year, and was traveling along the river, going from one island to the next island tour among the rivers there. And the guy told me that some foreigners, they come and they want to buy all the cows that are available for sale because they're looking for organic cows. They don't want the cow that eats in the ration again. I'm saying it's a home and a place for us in the Caribbean to go back to basics, back to the organic stuff. And what I'm saying here about the Tobago economy rising is real. There's no real urge to tell me I'm going to go to America and I could go ice skating there. I could see all the American stores on that island. Most of the high profile stores there, tax free. Yeah, there's a manufacturing place there. We have about 200 acres of land we want to dedicate to manufacturing and free trade zone, also to around the same area, very close. Everything is linked together to the ports. You can't tell me that instead of selling things down on a plane, why not come to bring our manufacturing and sell it from there down America? That could happen because we are opening manufacturing zones. So all that's part of the plan. And I'm glad I was speaking to you today. I don't know the size of the pockets. It might be about 2 billion years, I don't know. You laugh. Maybe 4. I should up the number a bit. Maybe 4 billion years are sitting there looking around cool. Because the more money they get, it's the less noise you make, right? And the less you look, that's not very simple because you don't want to call attention to yourself. So maybe 4 or 5 billion years sitting here today. But what's more important to us as we sell diaspora and sell foreign direct investment is your ability to buy in something new, something revolutionary, something fresh. We have been told a long time ago, and I believe in the Caribbean you have heard the same thing because we all exist on the same plantation, right? And the sayings used to be the same. We have been told, don't hang your hat where? Where? Oh, so you all learn the same thing, right? Where hand can reach. We have learned this thing, take little and all know the thing. All know Jamaica. Take little and live long. It's a take little and live long. These are sayings designed to manage your expectation. Where you from, my brother? Oh, man, Jamaica to man, to all them things, man. One basket, yes. So these are statements designed for us to manage our own expectation. Because see, as on the plantation, they taught us, do be a busybody. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Be patient. Don't be wild-eyed and dreamy. Take it easy. Take it easy. That's out of the window now. The world have changed. The world have changed. As a politician, I tell my people, I say, it's okay to quarrel with me. Yes, quarrel, make noise. Because you are the conscience of the society. Don't go easy. Don't fool me up and butter me up. Quarrel with me. Protest if you have to protest. Keep me on my toes. Any politician who don't want nothing like that and try to cover things up is not a good politician. If the people are unhappy, let there be something of substance. And let's treat it. The politics, we're not into it. But once you're unhappy, then obviously we need to do attention and protest. I have no problem with that. So I may be one of the most vilified politicians, but successful in my country. Because when the people speak, you have to listen. What is the substantive issue? What is it? Look beyond what they're saying, what they're calling you, and look at the issue and treat with it. That's how we have to grow a country. Yeah. And I'm also one of the politicians who believe in not having a population in a comatose state, where they just sit down there waiting on you. Right, Brother Jamaica?
We're gonna ask for a question.
Just know. I know you're brilliant. That's how I want to go. Still a question. How do you believe in that? I believe in that my people should be impatient. They must be impatient. Nothing wrong with that. Because they will drive you to do better. When your children are impatient and say, "Daddy, this house is too small," it forces you to want to build a bigger room. Do something. We have to be driven by the population and not drive the population by our thoughts. It's a different kind of stuff. And I'm saying this to go somewhere. That the statement that says you mustn't hang a hat where your hand can reach has now been revised and revisited. There is a new edition. Are you aware of it, sir?
Shirley Chisholm said, bring your chair to the meeting. Don't have it.
All right. That's a nice one. Then bring your chair to the meeting if you don't have a seat. But what is the revised version of don't hang your hat where your hand can reach? What is the updated version? It's simple. They say there's nothing wrong with hanging your hat where your hand can't reach, as long as you can get something to take it off. Yeah. And so in foreign direct investment, as I end, indeed, I have hung my hat where I cannot reach. And that's okay. I'm not limited by the money we have in our treasury or by the blank dreams of the people around me. No. We are limited as far as our mind can see. And we see a future without limits. We see a future that must become sustainable and must provide jobs for all of its people and must become a hub that interests all of the Caribbean. And likewise, when Jamaica create a different hub, then we will go there too. But we must create a product that makes the others want to come to us, not to see sand and beach. We're accustomed to that. We need to do more. And so today, I challenge you today to help me get that plan into action. You might know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody with money to spend. And they say, "Hey, I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody with a plan to sell." And if we do that, you create a whole new world that presents itself as an opportunity for the unemployed and for those who are interested in this. I thank each and every one of you. I will put the proper questions.
So thank you very much, Mr. June. So we'll go to far and so we have quite a few questions for you. So anyone want to go first? All right. You want to come up and we'll do it on camera, or you want to? You're good from there? All right.
I think I can project.
Yeah. All right. Well, actually, let me give you the mic on the next.
Jamaica.
No, it's okay. All right, first of all, as far as the aspect of follow-up questions, people in the Caribbean have been following the West.
Yes.
The West want to go green, we want to go.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
But want to go green and we want to go.
Politicians now they turn off the fire, number of they turn off the fire and they tend to go green.
Yeah.
Now the scientists say that Earth are going to warm 1% in 100 years.
Yeah.
What they say is that you gotta go green. The Earth is always green. Get hurricanes, clean the place, and they start people die, people fall. But we're going to go into. So when you close the use of oil, you go electric. Electric car is 60,000. The average Caribbean person can't afford a $60,000. But they're telling us to go green and go electric. Where is the revenue coming from? Now, the big guys go to Africa, they get the cobalt, and they put in their cars. So you have one man, one big guy, making all the money, and we buy from him. It's a little car.
Yeah,
So we don't want to brainwash the next generation
that's right.
into this movement plan, because I think they're setting us up for failure.
Mhm.
Because 50 years ago, 30, maybe 40 years ago, they had things unleaded. They got us to go unleaded because they didn't want to use lead. They said, "Full of it."
Yeah,
When you went unleaded, what actually happened is, if you know the converter, when you look at the back of your tailpipe, it comes out water. So if the car is already converting it, why are we now going green? We've been going green for the last 100 years.
well, Papa sense.
So they're brainwashing us again to go green, drain the resources, not go to Africa, because every time they go for cobalt, they're going to be trapped in those forests in Africa. Where's the next powerhouse that we should be looking for, not Europe? Europe is on the way down,
Yeah.
continent on the way up. But, you know, we should have found the garbage plan. Nobody's trying to get to Africa.
Yeah,
The big shots are going to Africa, taking
That's right.
cobalt, making
That's right.
electric
That's right.
cars. We going green, we buy it
Yes.
from one man.
that's right.
We should be making electric cars in Africa.
That's right.
We gotta watch how we do it. Because if you dig in your forest down, Africa will face starvation. Where we going next? You got oil, you got diamonds. England benefit from the oil and diamonds. Where's the Caribbean gold coming from?
Yeah.
We
Well said.
can paper, our dollar is worth nothing.
Yeah.
How much is the dollar worth in Jamaica? How much
About 7 to 1.
Jamaica go 150
7
to
to 1.
1.
7 to 1.
US dollar is not worth more than 25 cents.
Yeah.
But they gotta spend 150.
Yeah, yeah.
So we are the fools. We've been converted to stupidity.
Yeah. We
So
can't catch
if
up.
we jump on this green thing, we made the red thing.
Yeah.
You understand?
When
After
you're
a
ready.
while, we following the Europeans their trick. I don't think we should keep following them. I think we should have another plan, another green plan, forward plan.
Well said.
Leave the green thing alone. It's not working for us. Not
Well
working.
said. Well said. Let me just support what I say to an extent. Again, we have been the victims of international policies, you know, and when they sit in the G8 and G9 or whatever they want to make it, right, meeting, and they make the decisions, they give incentives to those who want to follow. Those who don't follow, they will give punishment. That's what I'm saying to you. That's why it's important for us to stop drinking Cokes and eating popcorn when we go to CARICOM and have serious discussions. Yeah? Our leaders must not be afraid of agitators. They must welcome them because we are there to push them into their purpose. If they keep going to CARICOM and ask them what one good thing CARICOM did for you, yeah, as our UN, the Caribbean UN. In the European Union, they make laws, all right, that benefit all of European Union. Some laws are human rights laws, some laws are employee laws, some are laws of the sea, etc. They make laws, right? And they contribute money one to the next. But in the Caribbean, we make jokes. That's what we do. And they make us puppets. So if we want to do what you are saying there, we can't fight it from here, you know. We have to ascend, all right, into the place of power. And when we sit down as one block, we must make agitation and say, hey, we hear you. But in the meantime, let me deal with this issue here. Because we have your own plan. Yeah? We must be able to fly across West Africa and say we want to stop, we want to engage you because we pool our resources. And we say, look, 10 billion from Jamaica, 20 billion from Trinidad, 2 from Barbados, and we have gotten enough to start something going. That's what we have to do. One intention.
All right, thank you. We have another question here for you. And this one is brought by a small business person in the healthcare industry. I believe.
Yes.
All right. So let's get the question from Ms. Burnell.
Okay, first of all, I am also a pastor. So
Hey,
I
pastor.
Perfect.
was not just a prayer for this open started. And as one nation, we're one under.
Thank you. Well, we give some script in between.
That's why I like it. And as I thought,
Thank you.
So I think that once we're on history, we can really have to go at it. And greater is he that is in us.
Yes, he is in the world. No.
And so being a part of any G that has nothing to do with God is not our house. So as Asiatic people, the people who the original people of this land, of whom every other culture is coming, we need to know where our roots lie, where we should stand as a people. And our G should come from the center of gravity, which is our unity and our oneness.
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah.
And under the divine auspices, and here to say to you today, our oneness comes from him and him alone.
Yeah.
And the more we can get into scriptures and know the word, because everything here came from the word, and understand the power of our oneness in using our words, in fact, our oneness, we are giving our power to others that want to use and deceive by playing with our minds. And without the renewing of our minds, we're incapable of change. Because in order for us to see our true destiny and our true place on this earth, we have to see it as a seed of faith, where as far as our eyes can see, everything belongs to us. And as people trying to unite the diaspora, we cannot do it without the G, which is God, and his son.
I have a question, please. So I've seen the presentation and I see the opportunities for large investment. So my question is, where's the small business guy from Brooklyn? How does he fit in to your bigger picture? Right. So for the small entrepreneur, the small business person, whether he's creating arts and craft or he's selling his services in various industries, how do they fit into your vision in this investor base?
Lovely. We want to create a win-win-win situation. So the first win is that any investor must, the first win is that any investor coming to Tobago to invest must come to make as much money as they can make, make as much as you can make. The second win is for the Tobago House of Assembly, which I represent, to also become involved on behalf of the people and partner with that person. So we give them land, we give them different benefits, etc., unique to Tobago, right? And the third win is for the people. The people, they're going to benefit from whatever development takes place, wherever it takes place. It's going to benefit all of the island because it's going to be a fund, community fund, where a particular percentage of that money goes into that fund to be used for each community, and also a sovereign wealth fund. We want to have one of the first sovereign wealth funds in the Caribbean. We want to do that. So whether it be 1,000 for every child that's born or something like that, we want to start putting it down to ensure our generation doesn't lose itself with nothing. But most important, your question now, we want to ensure the business people, they have a particular percentage of that entire investment available for their own investment. So we're selling shares to the person who wants to buy shares. So the very people become owners of the capital.
So what you're saying is that it's not just space for large investors.
No, small investors too.
You have space for small investors who want to buy in at
Precisely.
$100, they want to buy in at $1,000, and so on. That
Shares.
Available.
So they put everyone on that interest level.
Okay. Yeah. And now I also understand that you're bringing up some entrepreneurs of your own from Tobago who are coming up with you as part of this this venture. What do you expect the outcomes? What are your anticipated outcomes for those entrepreneurs who are coming up in the other direction? So we've spoken so far about the diaspora investing into Tobago, but if we're really talking about trade, two-way trade. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what it is that you anticipate, or what is it that you want for business people in Tobago and how they can take advantage of your outreach into the diaspora.
Thank you so much. Bridges allow for two-way stream, right? bridges allow for persons to go and to come. This move is a bridge. So we have come to sell this and to take back with us ideas, the money, etc. They are coming with their products, and their products are unique because it's organic. Most of those products are handmade because they have no factories, and they diligently will measure this, measure that, and they put their whole business together, and they're coming with it packaged, ready to be sampled by the would-be investors. We are hoping that those who are coming, when they present their packages at the Tobago Day and even at the consulate here in New York, I think it is, yeah, we would have persons who will know somebody, who knows somebody, who knows somebody, who knows somebody, that may be interested. Okay. Because you know, the big guys, they don't come to these things, right? They have scouts. Listen around. And so we're hoping that the scouts will come and sample and go back to them and say, hey, I see a product, I might be interested in putting some money in this. If you tweak it a little bit, you'll start.
Okay. So I'm assuming also that part of that outreach is that you're looking for partners here.
Yes,
who might be able to retail
precisely
some of the products that you are producing.
Precisely.
You are producing in place. All right, let me get another question from the audience. So I want to select from the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce, wanted to ask a question.
Okay, thank you very much. You're from Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
And Trinidad and Tobago have been, I would say, half of the Caribbean people, whatever island they're on, Dutch, French, or even
Yeah.
have some form of insurance coming out of Trinidad.
Yeah.
Some type of financial investments coming out of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, in terms of structuring, I mentioned structure earlier in my presentation, in terms of structuring investment into Tobago, is there any way that can be done, let's say, via locally sponsored, or even US sponsored mutual fund? That's my first question. My second question is transportation. We have a gentleman here, his last name is Irish and Brambles. So this question could be answered a little diplomatically on your side. Leith Island anytime. Founded in Montserrat, proposed by a man by the name of Bramble.
Okay.
And it's been truly,
You know your history, right?
Right?
Eastern Caribbean, truly multinational airline. Trinidad has backed out of financing it. Barbados has backed out of financing it. And Jamaica has been absent. So I guess the question is, I mean, there are like Guyana, we don't even include Guyana and whatnot. But what's left over is the Montserrats of the world, the St. Kitts, the Nevis, and the Antiguas of the world trying to keep this thing afloat. It is crucial in terms of cross-border transportation of people traveling back and forth. People that work in.
And which country are you from again?
Curacao. I'm West Indian, like that.
Right.
I'm a Caribbean man.
It's Caribbean man.
Yeah, but yeah, Curacao by birth,
Yeah.
and Suriname and St. Martin by roots.
Yeah.
So the reality of it is, as we talk transportation, I understand that Air Jamaica and Caribbean Airlines have managed to get something worked out that they have an airline for. But in terms of cargo being transported through the islands, that transportation does not exist anymore.
I agree with you.
Now, to send a package from a place like Anguilla to a place like Barbados, it goes via Miami. So
Very
that's
important question.
Yeah. So the question is, are there any plans to do that?
I've got a
The
question.
last part of that, coming from Euro-Caribbean and Dutch Caribbean in particular, we have a system where if we manufacture a product in St. Martin or Curacao or Aruba with 35% local added value, it goes into Europe as Dutch or French product. The transportation issue has been a problem in terms of us getting juices from Trinidad in the raw form, and putting juices in the Antilles. Or the same thing applies to mostly Guyana, it applies to Guyana, Trinidad, it applies to most of the Caribbean countries who are having difficulties getting product into Europe. I give my.
No.
Okay.
All right, that's a deep one for you, man.
Yes, Steve, go for it, Steve. So can mutual funds participate in the development of Tobago, or what we're talking about, right? And yes, I think mutual funds have a lot of monies in reserve, and we would love to have that one-on-one meeting with those persons who have those funds, you know, hedge funds or whatever. We are willing to have that with our technical team. The second one is a very important question, but it's very direct. There's no political way to answer that question. In that the Caribbean has been ruled for many years by division, and it's time for us to unite. I'm calling for Caribbean unity, right? Not just with Liat, but we should have perhaps a boat that travels all the way up to the Caribbean. You know? We have to find a way to unite because we are stronger together than apart. A place like Europe, where they fought so many wars against each other, they speak different languages, the culture is different. Yeah, they have united. They have the European Union, and nobody's playing boss for the next. It operates in a very diplomatic way by association. Association in the sense that France is France, Germany is Germany. They have whatever it may be, but they still must have one currency. Let's have an international court. Yeah, the European International Court. Let's have a parliament. And in that parliament, this law only affects you if you agree to it. So we're not forcing a law down on you based on your size. Now that's the kind of respect we need to have in the Caribbean, right? Why not one currency? Jamaica was glad for that. Guyana might be glad for that. But maybe Trinidad and Tobago may not be glad for that. Maybe Barbados may not be glad for that. Maybe other countries like St. Vincent, Grenada may not be glad for that because they feel that it may be devalued. And so we have to bring about one unity. That could only take place at our level. We must become agitators of that. I long to lead a march in New York that says, unite the Caribbean and force our leaders to meet and talk. Let's stop trying to play boss, you know, better than. Let's do it together. That's my answer to you. To deal with the Liat problem, you have to unite. The division of saying that your woman won't play, I want my brand. But all are suffering, all are suffering, all your lives are suffering. If we were to pool that resource and have a name that is unique to the entire Caribbean, then we would pay the bills and have a smoother and more easier transportation in the Caribbean. Remember, the Caribbean is about 50,000 people if you include all the Spanish-speaking countries, etc. 50 million people, sorry, if you include all the Caribbean-speaking countries. Well, Spanish-speaking countries in the Caribbean, right? But when you look at America, North America, about almost 300 million people, and they have one plane. Well, two planes, United Airlines and American Airlines, right? And
One or two.
well, but then, okay, but then a few of them, but they're all united, you know. And then one thing, so we have to have a unity. It's showing out in the way we invest our money. And the last one you asked is, what's your mind again? The mutual fund,
Shipment,
yeah,
35% had it now.
again, that has to do with the whole unity thing. The Curacao, once in Martin, they're not seen as part of the Caribbean. Once you don't speak English, they don't see you as part of the Caribbean. And it's a wrong thing, right? So we speak about the English-speaking Caribbean as foolishness. The Caribbean is a chain of islands starting from Virgin Islands, from all the way back down to Trinidad. I mean, and all of this Caribbean. But they say English-speaking Caribbean to push aside someone. So if we unite just as Caribbean people, we would be able to do more for each other. That's what we're talking about, one intention. Yeah.
And we have another question from on this side.
Yeah.
We wanted to.
Just a question, just to add to what you said.
You have to speak a little bit louder so we can.
Yeah, I'm saying, let me get a question, just to add to this point that you given on issue with transportation in the Caribbean. And the question is whether there is a value proposition coming from the problem of the transportation for an opportunity for private sector and for private sector to respond to the demand for transportation.
in the Caribbean, and why the private sector is not responding. Because there's an opportunity here for a private investor to establish a reliable air and properly maintenance transportation in the Caribbean. Because I traveled and it's very recently. It was a nightmare to get to the I have to work to Martin and be there for 12 hours to go across from Benin or something like that. That gives you that. So there's definitely a serious issue of connectivity into the transportation in the region. But the question is why the private sector is not responding to that market situation? Because of market size, market share, or is there another problem that we are not seeing and it is traveling? Why is it that we have to call for the state government to fund this transportation? And the transportation is an essential service. But what is really the problem why the private sector, through some kind of foreign direct investment or some consortium, is not responding to this market?
There's some structural problems in that area. And the structural problem is, keep in mind, keep in mind we had a situation where, well, first of all, St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla, Montserrat, what's the other island back there again? Barbuda. That's LIAT's primary transportation area. Population-wise, St. Kitts carries about 40,000 people on St. Kitts. And we're now in the middle of the big comeback. You have St. Martin, you mentioned earlier, half Dutch, half French. That means daily flights from Europe by Air France, have daily flights from KLM. So it becomes that connect point now that it's difficult for LIAT to compete with unless LIAT now co-share with one of those two airlines and can take people south into the islands, right? So that becomes the number one problem. The number two problem comes now. The big transportation hub, the next big hub is St. Thomas, right? St. Thomas. And again, that has a whole strict of US regulations that are very difficult for LIAT to compete with. And that results in canceled flights, delayed flights, and you name it, and you have that St. Thomas connection can delay the whole LIAT system moving south in the Caribbean. So at the end of the day, LIAT well, not LIAT, but any other airline that tries to fill that gap really has to be state sponsored or half state. It has to be a mix probably. An investor that gets that investment, we have to bankrupt like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
So taxpayers really have to put that bill. What is needed. You need that transportation. A new hotel opens up in Anguilla. New hotel Montserrat is reopening actually for various locations. And as that happens, what I'm seeing is airlines like the French airline, Air Caribbean and Air, which is the Dutch airline. They've been partially trying to fill that gap. Again, if Montserrat doesn't subsidize that flight, it is no longer worthwhile doing. So that's part of LIAT.
And most of them by subvention, right? Too small. It's not gonna make it.
Yeah,
And subventions anyway.
and these places can't be left
Regional
alone. They have to be connected to the world.
level, most of the countries are paying EA and these islands and villages fly
Yes.
on a seat guaranteed arrangement. In current areas support these airlines fly to the region, support it to themselves.
Well, keep in mind, I mentioned those two flights, the KLM is now going to Trinidad. But those two KLM and Air France flights that come into Europe, they are partially subsidized also by both France and the Netherlands. If you don't have a certain number of sold seats, then, so that's kind of how that subsidizing takes place. But the reality is though that Montserrat, St. Kitts, that string of islands in between need help from their brothers and sisters
And
Trinidad.
the fallout from that is that most of the Caribbean countries are serving the economy. And you need people, you need traffic to consume the service for the economy. So definitely there's a need for us to have the infrastructure, transportation infrastructure in place for the economy to survive.
But moving away from transportation for a second though, There's a manufacturing center in Trinidad.
So we need to wrap up a little bit, right?
And there's a big.
I know we're gonna continue this after because that's an important point.
All right, Dr. Hussein, you had a question, you wanted to.
Question. One.
Okay, well,
So, Mr. Wood, I understand your vision, I share your vision. But I believe that that vision is bigger than just not, I think it's a beautiful vision. That was, that is. But the problem that I am facing. Now, we all know the Tobago culture when it comes to the land. We know several years ago, that was used to put elections, etc. However, it's not just on the individual issue of protection of our land. I think it's also from the island wide basis, because when it comes to investment in Tobago as a foreigner, the whole issue of getting land has been a problem for a very long time. And I can tell you personally that happened. So my daughter, she was born here. And I have to make sure and go to get Trinidad and Tobago citizenship for her, because it will be difficult for me to even pass on any land I have on her, because she's not a Trinidad. In Tobago, I'm not talking about Trinidad.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you all know how that came around. We talk about the Germans came with using our, taking our land and all that stuff, and it came from etc. without having the institution to prevent anyone from physically drafting out. So there are specific points in Tobago that foreign investors could get access to land that we could go here. However, on the whole, it's very difficult for foreigners to actually get access to land outside of, I think it's like 5% area. And I've had friends who, one of them even made the comment, like, I have to get married to be able to invest in Tobago. So how would you deal with that? Because at the end of the day, you can't just, and it's not you actually.
No.
The island can't just close up themselves to outside industry and still ask for investment. So there has to be some sort of balance. How do you reduce the plan to do that?
Now he's asking a very difficult question. It's an important one. In Tobago, some years ago, the buying and selling of land was free. And we had a heavy amount of European tourists coming into the islands. And you only hear that that estate was bought by a German. This estate was bought by someone from Switzerland. And they were buying up the country. And the fear of losing the country and its people in it, the government moving, I think it's what is called that again? Foreign Investment Act, that 1990, that prevents any foreigner from buying more than 5 acres of land without a license and kind of stuff. So he's asking the question, how do we allow for persons who wish to invest to buy land? That's a real question. In Dubai, I sat and talked to one of the guys up there who's into business, and they were saying that they want to buy land, they're going to invest money in the place. Because they went to Africa, some country, and with another nation, they developed a port. The leader of the country changed. And when the leader came into power, he nationalized everything. He said that belonged to the state. Right? And he took everything that he had and owned it. Yeah? And they lost their money. So there are some persons who will not want to invest unless they have a certain level of guarantee on their property. Because if it's a country, they could nationalize it and want to nationalize. If you own it, international law prevents them from giving it up easily without certain legal battles. It's a good one. But again, I think big picture, because sometimes we can argue and come up with novel ideas of how we can run it. But the big thing is that we have to ascend into power and allow Tobago to make that decision rather than Trinidad. Right now, someone in Trinidad make that decision. And currently, the political party that governs Trinidad and when it governs Tobago, they're opposed to each other. right? And so they seldom work with each other because people want to win in their own right. So we have to now go down there, change the law, allow Tobago House of Assembly, who is responsible to the people, right, and for the economic development of the country, to make those decisions. Yeah, talking about power to the people in that sense. Yeah, right. So that's one solution. The other thing will just be semantics. We can sit and discuss how to do it and smart, and we don't want to do it on the platform.
So,
Can I just put
so,
things
so,
differently?
so wait a minute.
The OPIC.
Let me just take things slowly. Okay. Woman power, woman power.
Okay, so on that, right, and I've been in for 2 years of my life. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I've lived more my entire life here than I've lived in Trinidad. So, and my mantra has always been, at my age, I'm never going back to Trinidad. So, I mean, I don't know what you're actually selling. I mean, or what your investment is. Are you investing, when you say invest in Tobago, are we investing in Tobago, a hotel or land?
Well, you can see, you have a whole there, and you couldn't see before, but you're going to see some while again.
Okay, so suppose now I said, oh, that looks good, I'm gonna invest in that. And then the gentleman said that, I mean, I want to invest into it. And, now, the access that we used, that was great, that Caribbean Airlines had, that you could fly on a Sunday from New York to Tobago, Iraq, it's beautiful. Oh.
It's the price that might price of Tobago straight.
To be, oh,
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, and actually, I will tell you.
I think one is leaving tonight, you know. One is leaving tonight, directly from Tobago, up here.
No, I'll tell you what happened. Years ago,
I remember I did it in 2007.
right,
But let's make sure she finish it first.
Okay, so that's still there, okay.
But I
Which is
want-
wonderful. I like that,
I
okay,
want to tell you.
okay.
Let us
So in order to, I mean, if I'm an investor and I decide to invest in something, whatever it is, you know, I mean, that I can fly there and fly back out because I don't plan to. That at my which is great. And, you know, I mean, I want accessibility is important to me, in, out. Don't want to stay long. And, you know, I mean, as you say, you're thinking you have young children, my children are all grown. God bless the child that has to. So, that's it. So I like that. If it's accessible, fine. If, you know, that's what I'm
there'll be
thinking
two
about.
airports now, so I'm saying to you, the fly tongue, you can fly country. 3
Oh,
airports in the house.
The
wonderful.
gentleman who was concerned
Okay,
about
that's
his profit within his investment in Trinidad. If the government of Trinidad or
We're
Tobago,
speaking to Tobago, Derek.
there's something called the OPIC, the United States has, it's called Overseas Private Investment Corporation. They insure your investment abroad.
Very good. Protect it. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's have Jamaica people.
Yeah, real briefly, the recent epidemic where imagine when Corona showed up, the Caribbean didn't have like input. We have the most earth, we have this, some of this biggest universities were smart. When nobody came up front and said, well, we have ganja, we have this, we have that. Nobody came up with a remedy from the Caribbean. So why are we so far behind?
Very good.
Corona, you have Bonk is, you know, Bonk is not part of it. It's one bad behavior, but they want to give their vaccine to everybody else who want it. So where's the Caribbean plan from the university? We're people. We should have our own plan and our own medicine, our own people in the Caribbean, and while we are waiting, you to come to the back. And they still get got 10 boosters, 100 boosters, the president still gets it. We still don't know what to do. But we got university students. What are you going to do for them?
I think yes, answer the question in that we need to be more united in our approach to solving our issues in the Caribbean. You know, rather than just be a recipient of funding, we need to be united in those approaches.
The important about
Yeah, and
Caribbean
Caribbean should be the driver of that character. Again, everybody in our minds.
I've been watching, and I've been listening to your conversation
Okay, thank you.
and the explaining of you.
Yeah.
My background is international sales, and this is why I'm telling you this, because I'm going to ask a question that you understand why I ask.
Thank you.
And international sales, export and import, real estate, and so on. You mentioned that highway, straight highway.
Yeah.
From one to
Next.
the other. And that goes to the rainforest.
Yeah.
But before that, you mentioned that Tobago is considered a green country.
Yeah.
Why would you want to run a highway through it? Number two is, you know, then the second one is transshipment. If you use Tobago as a hub, where you can ship from Europe, from Asia, and transship through Tobago to other parts going north. Would that double handling would it cause increase in the final product where the transshipment would be handled, increase the cost of the freight? France does that with French-speaking Africa. When I ship from New York to Cameroon, I have to ship to Versailles, France, and then change the ship down to the Cameroon. By the time the goods reach the Cameroon, price on quite double. How would you handle it? I'm interested in like real estate, but I see also it could be in international for marketing. It could be transportation of goods from the Far East to the US or Jamaica, for example, to Africa, or direct. So I'm just concerned about these different handling. It can cost more.
The first question again? The second question.
My
First question is the rainforest.
Highway.
All right, so nature is made to serve man, not man serve nature. So that's the first. We need to move from one point to the next. That's the high picture. The rainforest is there. We need to navigate through the rainforest to achieve our ends. We can't throw our hands in the air and say, well, look, it's a rainforest, you're not going to touch it. We have to touch it. But we must touch it in a manner that does not deplete the fauna and flora that are unique to the rainforest. It must be done skillfully, and so that way an environmental impact assessment must be done. So we then know exactly what we are doing and make an informed decision. My sister there, the Reverend Rightful Burnell, Sister Burnell, she will tell you if Solomon was building his temple, and let me get a Jamaican talk now, because Tobago and Jamaican speak the same way, just different intonation. If when Solomon was building the temple, there was not the song of a hammer or nail heard the building of a temple. Quiet. So it's how a planet, my brother, right? How a planet and they're executed. But to build, it must be built. Because that we're talking about jobs, and we're talking about freeing up that whole idea that says, I am tongue and you are country. Mobility is very important to trade and business. All right? And we have to have a more direct way of thinking. That's the first one. We're going to study it. We're not going to do while. The second one, I've asked the second one about the real estate and about the transshipment point and exchange of one boat to the next. Let me just say to you quickly that the idea is not to have both exchange. The idea is to make it one of the more busy hubs in the Caribbean, right? And also a refueling station. So we have other natural gas in Tobago. It's a natural gas in Tobago waters, really, but Trinidad claim it nonetheless, okay? Because of laws that says Tobago is responsible only for 6 miles around it, and everything else outside of that is north of Trinidad. Advantageous law, but we can't deal with that. That's politics, yeah? So what we want to really do is to ensure that as ships travel around the bend to come into Tobago waters there, we provide them with a resting place and a refueling place. And if they want, they could change captain, change people and go back and have an next person move the same ship, or they could just offload and have someone take it and move with it. All right? Those are options. It's not hard and fast that you have to leave, offload and go back. You just change crew and move. So the idea is to have them come as a resting point, because when they rest, we have the beautiful things behind at the airline here. The port, you will see the cargo port behind here. That the institute right there, you know. And that's those are the calls. We have so many islands out there, etc. So when they come, they could go and rest in a nice villa, resort, shop a bit. Yeah, it looks like real, and that's why we want to keep it.
Highway bill, because I know in Jamaica, they had a highway for things into
I
the
think
country.
the recent one, the Chinese one.
But yeah, exactly. And the Chinese own all the land on both sides of the highway, and then they have all their stores and all their people and everything. You know, what is stopping us from selling out our country, our island to these people? You know, and that's very important.
Very question. So, she asked the question, what will stop us from selling out the adjacent lands to the highway, to the people? It's the leader. Everything rests on leadership. When the people are too quiet, the leader make bad deals. Right? When the people are noisy and they're watching everything and they complain with everything, the leaders are forced to be honest.
And another example
Right?
of that is Haiti. Now, Haiti's leader listened to the people, because people said they did not want vaccine in their country, but look what happened to them. So how do we protect? Okay, it's good for you to listen to the people, but when you have influences like the G that you're talking about, that does not have regard, come in and ruin or kill off people because they can't control the people.
Yeah.
Come on, what happened now?
I mean, that's a good conspiracy theory and conjecture of just engaging. But we can speak to that, right? I mean, we can just keep changing the conspiracy theories and go on and on. But the good thing is that those countries are sovereign nations and they are entitled to make their own decision. They don't have to put their fingers on their head and ask for permission. They can make their own decision. We expect that when the people decide to choose a leader, the leader must be of the people, by the people, and most of all, for the people. Yeah?
Mr. Duke, so as we wrap up, I wanted to ask you, so what comes next? So this is your first venture, you said, out to engage the diaspora, right? But when you say it's the first, that implies that there's a second and possibly a third. So my question is, what's the follow-up to this? So you've come, you've made your pitch, you've given us a view of your master plan that you want to engage in. What do you expect to come next, and what should we expect from the people of Tobago in terms of a next step in moving this forward?
Thank you very much. I think we often miss it. But the greatest resource of any country is the human resource. Not the oil, the gas, diamonds, the gold, the cobalt, the platinum, whatever you call it. It's the human resource. We have come up into this important and essential resource, not only of Tobago, but of the Caribbean, that represents Africa, from whence we came at different times, etc. If we are able to do a proper human resource audit, and we determine the skills bank, right, and the technical bank, etc., that exists in New York, because of other places, and we do it for every state and for every continent, etc., island, we would be able to have a reservoir of personnel that could literally impact upon it and make it easy. This is not a plan with a quick gestation period. So it's no like 6-week chicken. You're gonna eat chicken in 6 weeks, right? No, this is a really hard work kind of thing. You have to take your time and grow. That's that. Right? Take your time and grow. So we have to take the time and develop this. It's the greenfield policy in Roxborough. It's in more areas to develop there, different zones, etc. So we have to take our time and engage people. Engage. Money's gonna come. Like I said to one group of persons, even before I even had this drawing, I would have gone to Florida and I spoke to one guy with a shipping company well, freight company, cargo, etc. And I spoke to Mike, just gave him the idea. And he emailed me in 3 days time and said he's interested. He has $150,000 to spend to go feasibility study. And once it's feasible, he's going to raise the funds, he's going to build the airport, and he's going to have his scale running there. People want to do things. I didn't follow up as yet, because I believe leadership is about consensus and having people buy in. It's very important for me to even come here and hear from the diaspora, and even from the Caribbean, who I intend to support, who I expect to support this. Hear your views. So let me just ask a question from your question. If that's done, and we have a Caribbean airline, well organized, well machined, everything, flying back and forth, do you think the Jamaicans who can't go to New York will come down there? I think so. I think if that was in Jamaica, I would come back to Jamaica. And safety is a priority. See? Well, all that, precisely. And people leave our country to go to Panama too. Sometimes they go to Guyana. Wherever they think it's best for them, they go. And so it's all about presenting something and making greater accessibility. That's why there's an airport up there. That's why there's a medical tourism complex. You're going to deal with things like oncology, cardiology. Too much people are suffering with these things. And we recognize it's just better for the private sector to run some things and have the government subsidize it for the benefit of its people. And if we do that there, man, in that beautiful place right in back of there's a waterfall right here. One of the best in the country. Beautiful waterfall. We'll come and enjoy it, but that's everything right there, man. You know?
What do you have for the seniors? You have like all we here, we have adult daycare, we have seniors centers.
But I would want to see a retirement village.
That's what I'm asking.
Total retirement village. It's a village where maybe 80% of the people are retirees. No? Nice home, whatever. There are other persons living and working among them, but 80% could be retirees. Talking about nice beach, the river, those kind of stuff. Because people are looking for the ideal place. As the world becomes more and more evil, people are looking for peace of mind and they're willing to spend money for that. So in our investment, we must tap into what the market needs. All right?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, at this time, I just want to thank you. I don't want to wrap up this session without inviting up someone who's pivotal in organizing it and was a point person for the Tobago House of Assembly. She worked tirelessly on this program. I'd just like to invite up very quickly Ms. Cherie Singh. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And keep all of this. So there we go. All right. So just very quickly, and it's sort of the same question that I asked Mr. Duke a minute ago. So I know you were pivotal in putting this together. Are there plans to put together other visits and other outreach to the diaspora? Is this going to be an ongoing type of endeavor? Is there a stage 2? Yeah.
Yes, I think so. If I could speak on behalf of Trey and Kinshe, I believe so. This is the first forum. It was unplanned. We knew that we had the English diaspora and we have community. So we took the opportunity that Dr. Suzanne gave us to come to the Tobago to just expand our care and engage the diaspora on a deep level.
Okay, and if people wanted to get more information, so there are people who are viewing this live, there are some who will watch the replay of this. If they wanted to get more information, let's say that there's a group of investors, Mr. Lake there goes off and shares some of this information, and there are people who are interested in hearing more, who are interested in the opportunities, who are interested in coming down and seeing. Right? How would they get more information in order to follow?
So this initiative comes from the Office of the Deputy Chief Secretary. So we have an email address, office deputy chief sec at odcs.gov.tt. You can call the Deputy Chief Secretary directly, 1-868-788-0007. And of course, you can call our office, 1-868-612-3792, extension 1001. And so all the necessary investment documents would be provided upon contact with the office.
Okay, and when I put together my little group, so my group of small business people, and we want to come down and see, right? So is there a reverse tour in the
Oh,
planning?
yes, I definitely think so. We need to invite the investors to the island so that you all can see the potential. It is a beautiful space, it's a beautiful island, there's so much potential.
Thank you very much, Ms. Singh.
All
All right. Phone number again. Phone number one more time, they're asking, listen. Give me 1 second.
Back of your folder.
All right. I'm sorry, Ms. Walker, you had a,
Yeah, I'm giving you one.
you're giving me more work. You guys realize I have plenty already. Okay,
I
go
know,
for it. Tell
but
me.
it's important. Ladies and gentlemen, I fail to disclose to you that I'm an advisory board member of the Caribbean Research Center since its inception. And in hearing your presentation today, it leads me, Mr. Brown, to renew our encounter scene. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, because we made major accomplishment with a lot of investment around the world.
Yeah.
And putting the efforts to do the survey, we could do that without you. So I think we need to revisit, get the survey done, do the encounter where we can invite the scout that he needs. Because sitting here, I have about 5.
Right.
The lake, I have about a dozen.
The scouts.
Mr. Fair, forget him. He alone would be the leader.
All right.
And my sister here also. So let's get the job. Okay? So we'll present it to the other body.
Yeah. I'm assuming that with that comes from funding. That's what you heard, right? That's what I heard. Yeah, but I heard that's what I think.
So she is right that, as I said before, we in the Caribbean Research Center have a long history of promoting sustainable development in the region, as far as into South America, we've done a lot of work in Central America. And yes, we do intend.
And I
to
hail
continue
from
doing
Panama. We have a lot of examples for.
All right, so this is going to bring us to the close of today's program. For joining you. Again, please, if you need more information, please reach out to the Deputy Chief Secretary's office. Again, that's 204 Parkside Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, and that's between Flatbush and Ocean. And that session begins at 3 p.m. So anyone in the creative arts community who's interested in learning more about these investment opportunities, please feel free to join us. All right, once again, it's a pleasure being your moderator for today. Thank you for joining us.
Dr. Bramble,
Yes.
one more thing.
I don't need any more homework without money.
Not homework.
If there's money, tell me the money first.